Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. It's episode 130. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate it. I have a fabulous guest for our 130th episode. She dominated the opera world with her portrayals of Mimi from La Boheme, the title role of Aida, and Bess in Porgy and Bess. She also shared the stage with historical figures such as Aretha Franklin, Jesse Jackson, and Nelson Mandela. She also has a brand new album, Lifts Every Voice. Please help me welcome Audrey DuBois Harris.
Oh, hi, Jake. Thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you.
You are so welcome. It's an honor to have you here on our 130th milestone episode.
Congratulations on 130. Wow. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk with you today.
All right, so let's get started. So, Audrey, when did you get interested in music, and how did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the recording industry?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jake. I actually started off as early as I can remember singing. I used to sing my prayers. I grew up in the church, and I remember going to church, and back in the day when we actually got down on our knees during the service to pray. And I would sing my prayers. And I always felt closer to God whenever I would sing my prayers. So singing has always been a part of my life, and music as well, where a lot of people don't know this, but I used to play the flute. And I thought that was going to be my outlet into music, but then singing really took over.
Awesome.
And how did the passion evolve, right?
Yes.
And so that passion evolved by, just staying in music programs. And then my mother overheard me singing one day at home while I was playing with my dolls. I was a little girl then. And at that time, I used to sing at church with my friends. But for some reason, that time caught her attention. And when I turned around, because I didn't know she was listening, so when I turned around, she was there and her mouth was open. And she's like, I didn't know you could sing like that. And so that's when it really evolved, because then she found a voice teacher for me. And that voice teacher just kept giving me classical pieces. And then that voice teacher told me of a high school for the arts that I should audition for. I auditioned and got in, and the rest really, truly is history.
I'm very impressed. I think that every musician and every guest I've talked with hasn't had incredible journeys,
Yes.
especially when they start in industry. So I would love to know about your musical heroes and how did they influence your sound?
Musical heroes. I'm really influenced by so many different artists. It could just be something that I hear an artist do, and I'm like, I like that. It could be an instrumentalist. It could be a jazz artist, a jazz pianist, or a jazz saxophonist, or the like. And I'm really inspired by different things. I'm also inspired, Jake, as odd as that may sound, but I am also inspired by sports. So when I see athletes doing their thing, it makes me say, I want to see what I can do with my voice. How much more can I stretch myself to do what I do? So as far as musical, the people who I enjoy are just people who I feel do the same. Just go out, and every time they perform, they go out not knowing if it'll be their last time, because you feel like they've given all that they have, right? And I always want to be that type of singer as well.
What I love about your voice and what I love about your thing, Audrey, is like you're able to I love the comparison of the sports and the athleticism, especially at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Because how you stretch your voice to portray some of the opera world's most greatest characters. such as Mimi in La Boheme, Aida, Bessie Shabazz in X, The Life and Times of Malcolm X, and of course, Bess and Porgy and Bess. So how did you prepare for each of these roles?
Mm. Well, there are a series of steps that a singer must take, especially when you're performing opera. And so it's not enough to just learn the piece. It's not enough to just say, okay, I've memorized it and I'm ready to perform. No, you have to know what's the context, because an opera really is a story that is sung the entire time, unless there is some dialogue. Some operas have dialogue as well, just a little bit. But in general, you're singing an entire story and you're playing a character. So you have to understand the character that you're playing. You have to understand the music. What time period is this opera set in? And so then you have to learn about the time period. You also have to learn the language, right? And so a lot of the operas that I performed were in Italian and French. I did a few German as well, but Italian and French are my two favorite languages beside English to sing in. And so there's so many steps. And so you have to also be vocally prepared, learn the pieces, and see what demands do the composer require of the singer. So you have to prepare that way. So there's so many layers to it that allows you to bring it all to the stage.
Awesome. What fascinates me about you is in the opera world, you have a lot of major fans, significant fans, but one of the most major and recognizable fans is probably one of the greatest singers of all time, the late and great and well-missed Miss Aretha Franklin. So how did you have a chance? How did Miss Franklin and her team contacted you about your work?
Oh, great question. So I was just out there doing my thing and singing, and out of the blue on a Sunday afternoon. I remember I went to church that morning, and by the afternoon, I got a call from a bishop. He was my bishop when I resided in New York, and Bishop Frank Otha White out of New York. He gave me a call. And he said, "Hi, Audrey, I have Aretha Franklin on the line." And I just believed that I heard that wrong. And so I said, "Aretha who?" There must have been a mother in the church called Aretha Franklin. So, I didn't want to get too excited about who he had on the line, but he said, "Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, I have her on the line, and she wants to meet with you, and she wants to connect with you. Is it okay if I share your number?" And I said, "Absolutely, Bishop. You can share my number." And he shared my number and she contacted me. And the rest is really history. She just took such a liking to me. And she told me of the first time she heard me sing was on television. She was home and she said the television was on. And she was kind of doing her own thing at home, not really sitting down and watching TV. It was on in the background. And then she said, "I heard you singing." And she said, "I came into the room and I said, 'And who is that?'" So she made the calls, to find out who I was and connect with me. So it's a fantastic story.
And that is incredible because the thing is, you have to have that opportunity to be recognized by one of the greatest performers in music, and then also not only that, but to work with her on several occasions, such as Aretha Franklin Presents a 2-night revival, Aretha Presents GospelFest, and Aretha Franklin Presents the Gospel Legends. So what were some of the legends, not lessons, I apologize. So what were some of the lessons that you learned from Miss Franklin that helped you grow as a singer?
Oh, wow. So many lessons. I remember just us talking on the phone and talking for hours, really. And she shared so much. One of the things that the takeaways that I got from our conversations was, as big as she was, as iconic as she was of a singer, her music was literally, and still is literally, played all around the world. She was yet so humble about her gift. She knew how great she was, but she was also so humble. So I would, talk with her, and I would say, well, how, try to get the nuggets out of her. And I remember the one event in particular that I wanted to find out about, like, how did that feel to receive this? And it was when she received the Lifetime Grammy Award, and she said it was a great moment. And she was so honored to have been honored in that way. And it was just her humility. After all that she had accomplished, all that she had done, she was just so humble. And then she would say, "Oh, but you're gonna have one." But she would always say that about Grammys. And I said, "A Grammy? You think so?" And she said, "Of course." And so my takeaway from my time with her was to still remain a person that is very grateful for the opportunities that you receive. People don't have to love on you, and they don't have to reach out to you and think of you. And so it's important to remain grateful. Gratitude is a wonderful thing. And so remain grateful when people go out of their way to show you love. That's a big takeaway that I had with her.
I'm so happy you've had that, because the thing is, I will never forget, she was so diverse with her duet. She was able to sing. I love when she did Through the Storm with Sir Elton John. I
Yeah.
love Jumping Jack Flash and seeing and with that incredible thing, not with Keith, but also with Whoopi Goldberg for the movie, when they did that.
Right. And for the video, she had her
Yeah.
on. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She had a great respect for other artists as well. That could be another takeaway as well. So she just had a great admiration for great artists. And she was a wonderful lady, and she's someone I will always cherish and always be grateful for the time that I had with her.
I'm so happy to hear that. And the thing is, my final question is regarding Miss Franklin. Miss Franklin's family invited you to perform at her Celebration of Life service in Detroit, which was watched by millions of people around the world. And some of the most iconic singers and most respected dignitaries in the world were also on stage. So what did it mean to you to participate in this event?
It really was a highlight for me. Highlight, not, of course, I wish it was under different circumstances, because it was although it was a highlight for me to honor her in that way, it was also a very difficult day for me. I remember us talking when she knew that things were not looking so well for her. And we shared a lot of wonderful personal things together. And she really believed that she would, and so did I, that she would beat this, So it was very difficult on that day, Jake. But while it was so difficult for me personally, I felt like I had to pull it all together and honor the Queen as she rightfully deserved. And, again, she paved the way for so many of us. She paved the way for me. She paved the way for so many artists. And so I just felt like, out of all of the artists in the world, I get to be one of the ones to honor her. And I did not take that responsibility lightly at all. And so I remember the first time she brought me into town to sing for her. And for one of her events, she said to me, now, this crowd, they're used to me and they're a pretty tough crowd. This was in Detroit. And she said, they're a pretty tough crowd. She said, so make sure you show yourself well studied. And I remember that, And so I remembered that as I was walking to the podium, got to be well studied. And I wanted to honor her as best as I could under the circumstances. And I hope she was proud looking down from up above.
I think she was. And thank you so much for being so open about your memories with Miss Franklin. It means a lot to me and my audience.
Thank you, Jake.
All righty, we got to talk about your latest album, Lift Every Voice. How long did it take you and your production team to create the record from start to finish?
Yeah, great question. It didn't take really that long to record it. Really, the planning phase with me and my manager, Eric Palmquist, that was really the time where we decided, okay, well, we'd like to have this piece added, this piece added. And so just putting it all together, I would say that took the majority of the time. There were some songs that I actually recorded a few within a few short hours, and so during one session. So, it didn't really take that long once we knew what we were going to record and what type of focus this album would have.
This album is phenomenal. I would love to talk about some of my favorite tracks and your arrangements and why you selected them. You got to start with your amazing rendition of God Bless America, which is I love that song. And yours is on par with Celine Dion's version. That's almost 20 years old.
Wow, that's a big compliment because I love Celine. I really do. So yes, ask away. What would you like to know about God Bless America and any other?
Awesome. So why did you select that song?
Yes. Well, actually, all of the songs on the project, I really wanted to select songs that highlighted America and highlighted the fact that I am American. This is my homeland. Especially coming out of the pandemic, the height of the pandemic. That's actually when I recorded this. And so out of the height of the pandemic and then seeing so much social unrest, it really just, it weighed heavy on me, Jake, to see how so many people were just fighting each other. And I was just like, wow, what could I offer that could be an offering of peace? And that would be an offering of unity. I really did not want to come in and stir the pot. I wanted to come in and say, I know we have our issues. I understand the issues. But until we're able to come together as human to human, brother to brother, sit at the table and discuss those differences, put it on the table, and so that's why I wanted to offer such pieces as God Bless America and even offer the Star Spangled Banner. People feel really strongly about that piece, and I get it, but I really wanted to offer that. I grew up singing the Star Spangled Banner. It wasn't something that I know for some young people, it's a song that's kind of removed from their existence or from their everyday. But for me as a child growing up in Florida, I had to sing the national anthem and recite the Pledge of Allegiance before school each day, And so I do have a love for the country. I understand some of the passions and some of the great topics and great issues that the country is being faced with. I understand it perfectly. But at the same time, I think you can still love a place and still want it to be better. right? And still want
Absolutely.
rise above. And so I wanted to offer a piece, a project, an album that would offer unity, you know.
I gotta say, I never heard the Battle Hymn of Republic so sung beautifully, because the thing is with the Battle Hymn of the Republic, I never connected with that song.
Ah, yes, it is a wonderful piece. And the lyrics, I think, especially for this time, and I think it's interesting that you say that you never even thought about or connected with the Battle Hymn of the Republic prior to hearing this. And that makes me really happy to hear that, because I think all of these songs are still very much relevant for today.
Also, what really got you on my radar was your amazing cover of Mike and Mechanic's The Living Years. It was such a beautiful arrangement from start to finish. I featured it on my platform, jakes-take.com, my music review views. It was wonderful.
Thank you so much, Jake. And thank you so much for featuring it. Oh, yay. We love the feature. And so thank you, Jake. Yeah, that piece is, that actually, talking about my manager and putting together Lift Every Voice, he actually wanted to add that piece, The Living Years, to Lift Every Voice. And at first I was like, interesting. I never thought about that. But I love the fact that it's on this project, because it really is a surprise for the listener. You know, you don't think that's coming up, especially after hearing, you know, all of the other songs that's on the project and how it's musically approached, right? And then right after, I think it's after Battle Hymn of the Republic. Is it, or after?
I think so. I could be wrong. I think so. I apologize, guys. You may have to go to Spotify or Apple Music to look into that, but I think it is.
Yes, I could be wrong too. And oh my gosh, that's not good. I should know the order a lot better. But I know that The Living Years is the last song. And Jake, I just love that song. I love it. And I think the message is so right on. You know, it's just like, say what you need to say, do what you need to do in the living years before it's too late, right? And that really goes with the unity. It goes with bringing people together. Yes, we have our issues, and those issues could be issues that absolutely can divide us. But if we do what we need to do in the living years, it can actually bring us together.
100%, 1,000%. I agree with you on that. We got to start wrapping up our conversation, Audrey. So who are your dream collaborators, the singers, the songwriters, the producers, and musicians that are on your dream collaborations list, and how would they enhance your sound?
Oh my gosh. Well, the name that pops up first, I would say, is David Foster. I am just a true fan of his production, his sound, his music, his writing, I think we would make a great team, actually.
I think so too.
If I could say so myself, Jake, I think we would make a great team together, where he could come on our team and join what we're doing already. And just, I think his production is just fantastic, really. I am a fan of his work. Another artist that I would love to, oh gosh, there's a list. And so on that list would be Barbra Streisand. Ooh, wouldn't
that would be an amazing collaboration, because the thing is, I really wish when she was alive that Aretha and Barbra sang something together.
Yes, that is true. They would have done something just so magical. So Barbra Streisand, yes, that would be another, and Celine Dion. Though I would say those are my top three. And, if I were doing something with them, nope, I have to add two more. And so the other two are Phil Collins. I love his voice. And then the group U2.
Oh, absolutely. Bono on the edge with your voice and those rock guitars. It would take everyone to
Yes,
and
I think that would take us to a whole nother level. Yes. Musically, to have what I do with what U2 does. Oh my gosh. Or with Phil Collins, just, I think, so I gave you 5. Those are my top 5.
And we're putting it out there in the universe.
That's right. It's out there. So if it happens, I'm calling you to say, hey, we put it out there with you first.
It'd be wonderful to see, because you mentioned 5 amazing and talented musicians and producers and vocalists. I think you guys would do wonders together. So if you had the opportunity to meet with aspiring singers who want to advance their careers in the recording industry or in opera, what advice would you share with them?
Yeah, great question. So it would be a list of things. The first thing is to just always be prepared. Know your craft. Know your gift. It's not enough to just say, "Well, I have a natural talent." Everyone has a natural talent that's doing what we do, and so we all start off with that natural gift that we have. But especially to have lasting power, you need to know what you're doing with your instrument. You need to know whether it's you're a vocalist, or you're an instrumentalist where you play another instrument other than singing, because singers are instrumentalists as well. But you need to know your instrument. You need to know what you're doing. You need to know how to do it, because you're going to have sick days and you're going to have days when you don't feel well. So you can't just rely on natural talent. You have to know what to do when you're in a situation like that. So that would be my first gift, my first advice to anyone with a gift and with a talent. My second advice would also be to never give up. You can't give up. One thing that's for certain: if you give up, you'll never reach your dream. And so if you persevere and you push through, you just never know. That one time that you're thinking, oh, what's the big deal to perform at this place? That may be the place where you get a big break, or that may be a place where you're connected with someone who, there's now a big turn in your career. So just never give up. I'm not saying not to do anything else if you need to pay the bills, at the same time. But at the same time, never give up. And my last thing is to know why you're getting into this. Are you getting into this because it's, you want to be famous? Or are you getting into this because really, if you don't sing, if you don't perform, you just feel like you're not living? That's what true artists feel. It's like, I need to breathe. We need music just as we need to breathe. We need music just as we need to eat. And so it is an extension of who we are. It's a part of our spirit, our soul, and we need to express ourselves. So understand why, your intention behind all of this. And so I would just say, never give up and keep pushing. There will be times when you want to give up. I should say that too. There will be times when you want to throw in the towel, but don't.
Those are all great pieces of advice, everyone. I would highly recommend go back and listen to every single one of them, to all the musicians and to everyone else who are listening to this, because that is valuable pieces of knowledge, Audrey.
Awesome.
All right. So the final question I have is, where can my audience connect with you on social media? And also, more importantly, where can they find your music?
Yes, very important. Well, they can connect with me on Facebook and on Instagram at Audrey DuBois Harris. Everything is Audrey DuBois Harris. That's AudreyDubois Harris. I know it's a little long, but hey, we've learned harder names than mine. So Audrey DuBois Harris. I also have a Facebook page, which is Audrey DuBois Harris as well. And I'm on Twitter, but not as much as I need to. So if you really want to connect with me, Facebook and Instagram is the way to go. I also have a website, www.audreyduboisharris.com. And most importantly, right now, where can everyone find my music? And so it is everywhere, literally everywhere digital music is available and sold. And so please download, please support iTunes, whatever your favorite outlet to get music, it is available there. So please download, and listen and enjoy.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Audrey. So guys, if you have the chance, please go to, if you missed an episode of Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, head to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer, Spotify, and Spreaker. That is Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Once again, JACOBELYACHAR. Are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Head to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube channels. Once again, that's Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. I was just telling Audrey off camera that jakes.shake.com and my brand, Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, is celebrating a decade.
That is awesome. And I wish you a decade and times 20. You know, may you continue to grow and may your fan base continue to grow, Jake. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome, Audrey. And thank you very much for coming on, and have a great one, everybody. And if you're listening to this podcast, please subscribe and please give this episode a 5-star review. Thank you very much, Audrey, and have a fabulous day. Bye, everyone.